Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to easily import songs with two languages into ProPresenter 7. Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I teach you all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, if you're part of a bilingual congregation or you've been considering how to do this, go ahead, like, subscribe, etc. And also make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to allow you to download some of the files that I'm using here today so that you can make this a little bit easier. So, let's say you're in a congregation and you speak two or more languages. I'm only going to show you how to do two, but this should work fine for three or more. How can you easily import multiple languages into a song in ProPresenter, keeping them in different text boxes and everything? Well, I said easily. By that I mean that you've got to follow these exact steps in this exact order, but with that said, then you should be able to do this. So let's head over to my computer and we'll take a look at how to do just that. So here we are in ProPresenter, and first thing we're going to need to do is import a song. So let's go to File, Import, File, and I'll show you the song that I'm going to bring in. So that is Amazing Grace in English and Spanish. So here it is right here at the top, and let me just show you what this looks like. So I've got the Spanish, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, and then English 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it doesn't matter which language is first. You could absolutely alternate these, but what's important for this is I do not have this separated into verses and choruses. With Amazing Grace, there aren't any choruses, but I don't have it separated into verses and choruses, and I will admit my ignorance on Spanish, so it could be that some of this doesn't match the way that it should. I think I got the public domain of everything here. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in, and we're going to bring it in as 2 lines per slide. So some of that is going to be a little bit of a review for you, but we'll do that. So let's bring that in by clicking Import here, and then where it says Line Break, slides delimited by this first section it's asking what should ProPresenter look for when it breaks slides, and by default it says paragraph break. I just changed this to line break, so it's just the drop down here. Delimiters per slide means how many of these things are on a slide. So how many line breaks are on a slide? 2 line breaks. So that's going to bring in 2 lines per slide. So that's good. Let's set this to the resolution of our largest screen. And then for themes, I'm going to select the 2 languages theme that I just did. First text box, top in Z order. I'll explain what all that means here in just a second, but that's the one that I'm going to choose. And since this is a hymn, I'm going to bring it into the hymns. I think I've already done that, so it'll probably say, hey, do you want to bring in a new version? I'll just show that to you, and then I'm just going to bring that into this generic playlist that I use when I make these tutorials. So click Import. Do you like these videos, but you'd really like to learn from me in person? Well, I've got some great news for you. I am traveling around the country and maybe even around the world training churches on how to use ProPresenter. So I've got a either a 1 or a 1.5 day class that you can attend. For more details, head on over to TDM.fyi/events24, the top one right here, and register for the event nearest you. If there is no event that's near you, no problem. You can request one. So head on over to tdm.fyi/class request. That's this one down here, and you can say, hey, I'm interested in attending a class, or even I'm interested in hosting a class. Up to you which you prefer. In the last one, that is just information. It's not obligation, so don't hesitate to put your information in there, and I'll let you know when there's a class in your area, or we'll talk about what it takes to host a class. It's probably a lot less than you imagine that it is. So head over there, and I look forward to meeting you in person. And see, it says, hey, you've already done this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new version of this. So do that, and you'll see that we've got the Spanish first. That's 8 slides, and then I've got the English second, 8 slides. So the first thing that I need to do is I'm going to click on the first of these. I'm going to command click. I believe control click on Windows should do it. And then control shift to select all of these. So basically I'm only selecting one of the 2 languages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the theme that this is on to one where when I brought this in, text box number 1 was on top and text box number 2 was on the bottom. Now I'm going to switch it, not like it won't move the text down here. What it's going to do is it's going to take the text box that doesn't have anything here, and it's going to bring it forward in the order of the things that are stacked on the slide. I'll explain that here in just a second. So I'm going to right click on this and just go to themes, and then my 2 languages theme, and you'll notice there's another one, the second one here, second text box top in Z order. So this is the one that I brought it in with, first text box top in Z order, and then this is the second one. And I'll show you what I'm doing here, because that didn't look like it did anything. And there's a reason for that. Now, when you're actually doing this, you don't need to do what I'm about to show you. You should just apply the theme, and then it will do this. So if I right click and select edit, or just click on the edit button here, notice here in the Spanish ones that the text box with the name text is on the top, down here in the lower left hand corner. Also notice that if I click on any of the English ones that I just changed the theme on, so like this one, now text box 2 is on the top. Okay? So that's an important piece of the puzzle, is that now text box 2 is on the top. If I select this, this is actually this right here. And text box 2 is this yellow one. Whereas in the Spanish one, so on slide 8, this is text box 2, and it's on the bottom here. So this is what I mean by Z order. So think of it, if you think back to math class, there was the X Cartesian coordinates. You had X and Y. So I've actually drawn it out here. So you have a little X and Y. Well, that is just a flat plane, like a piece of paper, although theoretically in geometry the plane would have no thickness whatsoever. to get to 3D, you have to have a third axis coming towards you through this plane that is Z. So think of it as the difference between a regular paper printer, so it prints left to right, it prints top to bottom, but that's all that it prints, and a 3D printer, which stacks on top of that material to get to the third dimension. So that's what I mean by Z order, is if we go back here, this is the order of these text boxes top to bottom. So we're actually looking at the slide looking straight down on it, and if they're like this, but one of them is actually closer to me and one is actually farther to me, when I look down on them, they look like they're on the same plane, but they're not, because the space between them is basically, it doesn't exist. So that's all that I've done, is I've changed this order right here. So on the Spanish one, it's text 1, text 2, and on the English one, it's text 2, text 1. Why is that important? So going back to show mode. So imagine that I did not just show you that. I just did this. If now what I were to do would be to intersperse them, so do English, Spanish, etc. Then when I go into Reflow Editor, I can do some fun stuff here. So let's start with English first, and then Spanish. And now let me go to the second English slide, drag that up there, like that. And then the third English slide, I will drag up there. Oops. Notice you do have to keep an eye on this. So English, Spanish, English, Spanish, English, Spanish. So the next one needs to be English. And then we have Spanish. We need another English. And this might help if you speak both languages, or you can have someone that speaks both languages check your work once you've got this done in this way. So I'm almost done. So once you've got those dragged in that order, pay attention, just go through English, Spanish, or language 1, language 2, 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 language 1, language 2. Okay? So now that we've got those alternated, all of the language 1 slides have the text box 2 above text box 1, and all of the language 1 slides have it just reversed, just how we had that brought in. So now we go to Reflow Editor, so right up here, click on that, and now you see what's going on here is, because Reflow only deals with the first slide, or the first text box in top to bottom order, not how it appears on the slide, but how it appears in the little box in the lower left-hand corner of the editor, then it looks like there's nothing there. But we look right here and it's there, sure as anything. So what I can do is I can click right at the beginning of this slide and hit the backspace button on a Windows keyboard, or the delete key that is right here on a Mac keyboard. That's where the backspace button would be on a Windows keyboard. So hit that, and it combines. So now I just continue doing that, and you'll see what's happening here is in the preview, I can now see one of these is so it's now got these two per thing, and it went from 16 slides to 8 slides. Now in the reflow, I can only see the individual for whatever was added into the top text box. So that's showing there. And now I can go back to show mode, and maybe I'm done like that. But let's take it up a notch and let's reapply the theme to all of these so that the second one here is yellow. So I'm going to select all of these and right click here, or I could, by the way, alternatively click on the theme here, and either way, and go here, and then I'm going to go back to my back to this, and I'm going to apply this. And when I do that, now the second language changes color. So that makes it pretty cool that I have already done this. Now, I released a tutorial some time ago how to show one text box on one slide and another text box on one text box from the slide on one screen and the other text box on the other screen, or sometimes both, and also released a tutorial on how to only show one particular text box on the stage screen. So you could do either of those things as well with this, the way that it's formatted. And by the way, I don't know of any reason why you couldn't do 3 languages like this. You just have to have a theme with 3 text boxes and move the second text box up to the top with themes for the second language, then repeat the same thing on the third language. Now, before I told you that these could not be separated into verses and choruses, and that is true. That's because within Reflow Editor, it won't let you combine verse 1 and verse 2. So that's an important piece of the puzzle. So if you do want to separate these out into verses and choruses, then just right-click on it, go down to Group, label, change that to verse 1 group, then wherever verse 2 starts, right-click, go down to Group, select verse 2, and so on, group verse 3, and group verse 4. Now let's say that you brought that in with another process. Maybe you brought in one language with CCLI or something like that, or anything like that. Well, what you could do is you could also select them all. I did Command A on my Mac keyboard. Control A should work on Windows. You can right click and you should be able to ungroup them here. Hold on. Maybe it's been a while since I've done this. So, oh yeah. So just right click and select ungroup on each of these, so just repeat that: group, ungroup, group, ungroup. And let's do one more time. Go down to group and ungroup. Okay, so that takes you back to where you were. So if you did bring them in and they were already grouped, you could just go through hitting ungroup multiple times to get them ungrouped so that you can reorganize them, and then when you're done, do what I just did. So either way, that is how to import a song with 2 or more languages in ProPresenter 7. I bet you would like the theme file that I used. So let me do this. If you go to TDM.fyi/2 and languages, I'll just take you to a page where you can tell me where to send the 2 language themes that I used in this particular tutorial. Everything is exactly the same, and so you can bring those into ProPresenter and use those just to get your mind around it. If you want to tweak them afterwards, feel free to do so with my blessing, but just go to that page, give me your email address where I can send that to you, and I'll send you a link, and then you can download those for free, just with my blessing. So until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.